Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna, and for those of you who are new here, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back. Now, there's quite an assembly of products here, and the reason for that is and if you noticed the name in the thumbnail, I am creating a Hapa planner. So it's different from a transformer planner, it's different from a Frankenplanner because, and let me show you what I mean. Now, what I mean by the difference between a Franken and a transformer planner is those ideas are inherently based on the fact that you have multiples of the same planner, but maybe in different styles. And then you're putting them together. So this is my mini happy planner. And I'll just take it out of the cover. And this one actually encompasses both a transformer planner as well as a Franken planner. Now, I'll go with the transformer one first because that's actually the easier one to show. Now, this is the original cover that came with the mini happy planner, and I keep them because they're very rigid, and so it's very protective. But I make my own covers because it ties in, I think, with this. Although the llama one looked cute as well. But for more so the ones that I make for my shop, they definitely coordinate with the front cover. And with a transformer planner, you don't mishmash all of your sections together. You keep your sections separate. And the way that I keep them separate is they are in the same divider. And then when I'm done with the planning section, I flip it over and then I am in a new section of my planner so that I can have multiple functional spaces in my planner rather than having to put it all in just one chunky bit. And then I've got my bullet journal section here. And then again, I turn the cover and this is all encompassed within this information here, my notes section here, and then here I have the important section where I keep my monthly bills that I'm paying as well as some important information. And it's akin to the idea of like a transformer toy where you take one thing and you turn it into something else. And then boom, you're back at the beginning and it looks just like a regular planner. Now for the Franken planning part of planning, sorry, what people do is they might have a horizontal spread, they might have a vertical spread, they might have a dashboard, they may have the no drama llama, which is the list spread. And what they do is they'll take components like you're making a Frankenstein and they'll take it and they'll input it into one section. So for instance, this is from the no drama llama planner, mini happy planner, as well as I don't remember if this is from the no drama, but then this is from the regular llama page. So, and it's hard for me to show a true Frankenplanner because the mini is the only one that I have multiples of, and I only had the two, the no drama, which is in the list format, which kind of looks like this. So the no drama llama, it's not a weekly spread as much as just a bunch of note papers of daily to-dos. And then you've got your regular horizontal spread like this. And that would be Frankenplanning, so that you take components of different pieces and then put them in so that you're utilizing. Like if, for instance, I had a vertical mini, then one week I could do horizontal, one week I could do vertical, the next week I could do dashboard if I had all of those different pieces because maybe I just like to play around in different spreads or I keep it fresh or for whatever reason. So that's the transformer style as well as the Frankenplanner style. The style that I'm going to be showing you is the Hapa style. Here in Hawaii, Hapa means half or part. And it seems strange, but I am Hapa. So my mom is German, my dad is American Samoan, so I'm considered Hapa, a mixture of the two. And so I have taken an Erin Condren and elements of a Happy Planner and then elements of other things, and I've created a planner. So it's not a Frankenplanner in that it's different brands, different styles of planners, because as far as I know, everyone who does either Frankenplanning or even transformer planning in a Happy Planner, and I have seen it in an Erin Condren, Tarshell has done that. It's all with the notion that you're going to stay with the same type of planner. So you're going to just mix Happy Planner with Happy Planner, Erin Condren with Erin Condren. You're not actually mixing up styles. But for what I wanted, I decided I love the elements of one thing and another, and so I'm just going to mix it up in a mishmash and make it Hapa style. And I've already started, but I will show some of it here. So what I've done so far is, earlier today in Walmart, I was actually able to find these wall calendars, and my original thought for this was to use it for work, and that's what I'm going to be using it for, where I can hang multiple calendars so that I can have 4 months at a glance. I actually had already done that for 2018 with something I had picked up from Amazon, but I looked and they don't have refills, and so this way I get to see 4 months at a time, and then every month just flip 1 month over. And these were $1. I couldn't believe that these were $1, but they were. So I'll be able to have something pretty in my office that's very functional, and especially for looking at the end of the semester, summer start, fall start. It helps me look at a wider glance than just 1 month desk calendar would. So I used this, and I've purchased one for this as well. And so what I've done is I've put the month on every single section, because this is actually, if you have been following me, this is from my Erin Condren, and I absolutely love the paper quality of the Erin Condren. And that's this planner here. This is the academic Erin Condren undated planner that I'm using for my wellness. But I hate this COIL. I absolutely detest it. And because my budget is something I'm really focusing on now, although I should be focusing on my wellness, and in all honesty, I haven't. So let me show you that. So the last week I actually did in here of journaling was the week of January 28th through February 3rd, and it's for a variety of reasons. I mean, I'm prepped for it, but I never got back into it, and I haven't even done the upcoming weeks. And it was just really bothering me, more so because if I'm looking from month to month, it's just really hard to deal with the COIL in that situation. Now what I'll be able to do, as is probably the best feature of a Happy Planner, is I can put things side by side. I don't constantly have to look back and forth, or I don't have to write it so I have something off camera so I can write it on camera. So the way I did it was, and I'll link a video below. I saw something that Miss Fia did where she actually took the COIL out and then she washied over all of the holes and then put it into, I believe she made a Happy Planner in that respect, and I really was considering that, but I didn't want to washi a year's worth of a planner. I could not feel myself doing that. So what I did instead, and you may want to look away just like with the Leuchtturm people, because what I'm going to be doing is probably sacrilege. And I've done most of the months, but I did leave some here. Now the great thing about a spiral notebook is that the pages rip out. No, I've never seen anyone rip a page out of an Erin Condren. This was $36. This probably seems like a huge waste to anyone who's watching. To the diehard Erin Condrens who, you know, live and die by the COIL, they're probably having little heart palpitations right now. But this doesn't work for me, and if it doesn't work for me, I'm not going to keep struggling at it just because I've never seen anyone not deal with it. Okay, so ripping out the page, and again, the reason why I bought that monthly calendar is because I'm leaving this one in here because I do plan to use this, just not for budgeting purposes. And so we're going to rip it. And those were the only 2 months that I needed to rip, I believe. Yeah, I had everything else. So this will be now only my monthly challenge that I am doing in the monthly overview where I'm practicing lettering, and this will be my wellness journal. And I have been slacking, but it is something that I do need to get back into. So that's that portion of it, and I'll explain why these are here in a little bit. And this section is actually really easy, and I'll just show you an example just a few times because it's pretty straightforward. But basically what I do is I cut off this section, and when I'm looking at the sizing, I don't actually know what this size is, but I know that the last line in the little plastic, I'm going to go slightly over that. And that should neatly cut off the edge, but still give me a little bit of a trim at the edge of the paper. And I'll actually do that for all of them. And I know for some who are watching, once you've gotten over the heart palpitations of me ripping this out like it were just a cheap notebook, you're probably wondering, well, why don't you just buy just paper? And I could. I actually have, and I don't know how it happened. I mean, I know how it happened, but I don't know how it happened, where I have a ton of dot grid Happy Planner paper because I love dot grid paper. It is my favorite kind of paper versus lined paper versus graph paper. I just love it. And so when I can get my hands on it, and it's typically through Amazon, although I have found it at a really good price on Etsy, and I have some from them as well, I enjoy the thickness of this paper. And I know for Happy Planners, because there seems to be two kinds of budgeters, for the most part. There are either the people who have the Happy Planner Budget Edition, whether it's the mini or the classic or whatever that size is, or you have Erin Condren, and most of the people that I see actually do that version, where you typically have the deluxe monthly planner, which is just a monthly overview and then a whole bunch of note paper and then a monthly overview, and it just continues in that fashion. But I've never, as far as I can tell, and I watch a lot of videos, I haven't seen anyone in a Happy Planner who's just using regular folder paper. There might be some, but predominantly they're either in the Budget Edition or they're in the Erin Condren. I like the Erin Condren method more because in the local craft store that I've mentioned, they actually had it and I could look at it. But the categories and things, they just wouldn't fit my needs. It would be a lot of wasted, useless space or categories or things that, you know, I don't need. So that never really appealed to me. So even though doing this on a weekly, monthly, whatever basis is kind of humbug where you're creating your own spreads, it's still more functional than trying to have to ignore or work around a bunch of line items that will never apply to my situation. So I have this here, and I do have the Happy Planner punch. Now you could use a single hole punch, and I've shown that how to do that in other videos, and I'll link them below, but this just makes it way easier and way faster. Now although you can do up to 3 sheets, I only do it one at a time for 2 reasons. The paper is quite thick, so I don't want to jam my machine, and because this is not exactly the size of a classic Happy Planner, I actually have to finagle this a little bit. And it's also important to remember that the little page flag goes on the right side. So the way that I finagle is I make sure that in this the Happy Planner logo on this punch, that I line the bottom of the sheet, making sure that it goes all the way back with the beginning of the H. So because I've done this already in the other sections, I know that it'll make sure that I don't punch anything here at the top, but it'll give me the number of punches for a classic Happy Planner, which I think is 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, because the big Happy Planner is 11. And so I'll do that for all of these pages. Again, I line it up to the beginning of the H, and then I just punch. And then I'll show you what I do with these pages. So I'm just going to fast forward through this. Okay, so those are the pages, and I actually have a little posty here because this is December. So in the Erin Condren, the page that fronts the section, and what I mean by that is, ooh, have I messed up the colors? Okay, so the page that fronts October will be orange, but the page behind October will be purple, like September was. So it helps you know where the beginning of the new month is. So this would be October, this would be November, and yeah, this would be December. Now, it doesn't actually really matter, but I mean, I don't know why it would bother me, but I just know that it would. So I'm just trying to line these up so I can stick these in. And for all of the other months, that's where this page is where I have glued the monthly calendar. Now, I don't care that the colors don't line up. That totally does not bother me. I would recommend either doing a tape runner, if this is something that you're going to do, or a glue stick. I would not recommend doing liquid glue, just because it can make your page buckle, as well as, sorry, let me place this down before I keep talking. It can make your page buckle. Plus, if you are not putting a very even coat across the back of your page, then you can have spots that might be difficult to write on. Now, I haven't actually tested this, so let's test this. Because I imagine as a calendar, you should be able to write on it. And so this is the high tech. And Sharpie. Papermate Flare. So they seem to write well enough. I'm not going to do the smear test just yet, although I will put the sticky on it because if it is still wet, I don't want it to mess up that page. And then there are 4 pages of the section. Changes color, and we'll put the new color here. Now, because this wall calendar was only $1, that's why I purchased it for this, because I didn't want this to be a DIY project that was going to cost me a lot of money. But I also, I really didn't know what to do with this page. So I thought for $1, this would work. And then the last section is green. And the tape runner, I mean, except for the wall calendar and except for the next thing that I'm going to show you, everything else I had. So I had the tape runner. I actually have one of those ATG guns, but I messed it up the last time I used it by putting in the tape, and I just didn't want to have to deal with that trying to fix it. Because once it's in, and if it's in good, it's a wonderful tool, but if you mess it up, it can suck your will to live. So I have all of my monthly sections. I did purchase this, and I actually crumpled this up before I realized that you might want to find it, because I actually think it's a good idea. I don't know that I've ever seen this before, but this is dividers that I also purchased from Walmart earlier today specifically for this, because the actual Erin Condren, even on the monthly pages, they don't have tabs, and so I don't want to have to manually put a tab on here. So I just picked this up, and this was $4.48. So in additional tools, I paid a little less than $6 if you factor in tax. Now, obviously, these are too big. So what I plan to do is, and I don't even mind that, I mean, the January seems to line up, but the rest of the colors may or may not, and I don't care. I don't mind that it has 1 through 12 because that works perfectly. That's January through December. It is bigger, so what I'll need to do is I will use a Happy Planner page, and I will use that as my guide to make the dividers, and I will make it so that it's flush against here and then cut away the excess. Now, because this is longer, obviously, than the page, 1 through 6, I will be measuring it from the top, and then 7 through 12, I'll be measuring it from the bottom. So it won't be perfectly staggered, but again, that's fine. But that way I don't have to worry that, oops, these will be the same, this will be the same. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. And again, I'll do a few on camera just to show you. The thing about washi is finding the beginning of the washi. Now, I could measure this, but I don't want to. So like I said, I will line it up so that is exactly the, I'll do it this way, exactly the same size, so that the only thing that sticks out is the tab. And that's 2 for two reasons, and that's because this paper is bigger than the Erin Condren, so it's already going to stick out a little. Plus, when I make the cover, I will make that a little bit bigger than these pages so that the tabs are protected. But I don't leave the house with this planner. This stays with the majority of my planners. So I'm not so worried that it's going to get damaged, but I still don't want to ruin it. So instead of doing a measurement, I'm just going to line the guide with the paper and then just go right down. And I'm thinking I should have taped this across the top instead of slicing into it, but whatever, it still works. All right, so let me do the rest of them. And then this is the final one of the first section, so January through June. And like I said, it is actually easier to tape it on the top. If I tape it on the side, it definitely is more secure, but then when I do the other cut, well, I guess I could do that cut first, but then I'd still have to keep taking tape off. So yeah, it's still easier at the top there. I just need to make sure that it is lined up with the edge when I am cutting it. But we are nearly done with this. And these little shavings is okay. It's just, again, I'm trying to rush so that this isn't 8 million years long. And I'm not selling this. This is for my own use. So I don't care if they're not exactly to the millimeter the same size. So 1 through 6 I did with this taped at the top. 7 through 12 I will be taping this to the bottom. And then that way all of the pages will be equal. Now the stagger will not be exactly staggered like it is if it were in a binder. But again, that doesn't bother me. I don't want it all to be staggered for like 70% of it, and then the other 30% math is off. To me, that'll look more funny than this way. This way, though, is a little bit awkward, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. And I have found that, well, okay, no, let me retract that. Now I think Dee from Budgeting D does planning in a Happy Planner, but budgeting in an Erin Condren, if I'm remembering her videos correctly. Cassandra from The Average Life and Denise from Denise Dives In, I don't know that they do planner videos, they just do budgeting videos, and they are out of Erin Condren. So I don't know, honestly, I don't even know how much of an idea this would be that people might be able to use, because, I mean, unless you have a variety of planners and you're not just all Happy Planner person, all Erin Condren, all Spiral, all Recollections, all Binder. I mean, if that's all you have, then, you know, this idea probably won't mean anything to you. But if you do have a variety, especially if you have some Happy Planner and some non-Happy Planner, then I'm hoping this can be useful and how you can create your own planner out of, for the most part, things that you have. Because even the rings are rings off of an old, or a couple of old minis that I had. So I didn't purchase that, which is just as well, because I can't get them here on island, so I'd have to order them. So that's all 12. So let me put this out of the way, although we will be using this one more time. Again, I am doing everything on camera, so I actually don't know if it will work, but here's hoping that it will. Okay, so yeah, 1 through 6, nicely lined up. 7 through 12, nicely lined up. Again, it isn't perfectly lined to each other, but because of the size of this, it would never have been unless I somehow used math and measured this and staggered them that way, and no one has time for that. So we will do this the same way. Because this is a classic page, and I'm hoping I'm not messing this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so with the Erin Condren pages, I had to line it up to the H, just because when I'm looking at these rings, if I could have lined it up here, but I didn't have a good guide to go by. So at least there's a line that I can line this up to. But I'm thinking that I should be able to just line this up to this first line because it is already inherently bigger than the Erin Condren page. So wish me luck, because I don't have a replacement. And let's see if this works. Yes, success. So that is 1 of 12. Let me punch the rest of these. All right, so with this calendar thing that I picked up from Walmart, it looks like the Sharpie might be the best tool to use for this, just because the it dries the best, because it's been a while since I wrote this and these still smear. So yeah, if I do write on these, then I'll need to make sure that I use my Sharpie, and I might make a note of it in the beginning of the calendar just so that I don't forget. Although those are the 3 pens that I typically reach for, so yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult for me to remember that the Sharpie is the way to go. Although my plan is, I do have the budgeting sticker book from Happy Planner. Oh. And so I was just going to mark my paydays as well as the days that I pay my bills. And again, I'll link my budget videos below so that you can, if you're interested, you can watch. And December. Again, like I said, I don't care that the tabs don't match. I just need to know where the month is at an easy glance. Now these, like I said, are the mini rings, and they are holding up quite nicely. I do have classic rings. I also have expander rings. So if I need to, I can always change out the rings. And the last thing I'm going to do is, again, I had these on hand. I love pretty file folders. So even at work, we have the regular manila folders. And I use that for student files, but for my own files, they're all pretty. Now, they're not all the same, but they're all pretty. And so I always have file folders. I actually have probably a good dozen of different styles right to the side of me, but these are the 3 that I were contemplating, and I think I'm going to go with this teal one because it's both busy and muted at the same time, plus it's kind of the color of money, and maybe we can manifest some money to come in. So we're going to cut this down as well, and I actually want it to be bigger than the tab. So I'll cut the edge off. I know I was going to be lazy and try to cut double thickness, but that would never go well. So let's do this way instead. And I'm just cutting around that center fold because it won't lie straight. And then I'll use this as a guide. And again, if you are doing this at home, you won't have to worry where your arms are. You won't have to worry that you're on camera, unless of course you're filming. So this will be 100 times less awkward than what I'm showing there. And I could measure this, but as you can tell, that is just not my style. And this is just for me. All right, so I'll use this one for this one. And should I keep the tab on? No. Now the cover, I could run through my laminator, and the next time I have my laminator out, I might just do that. Although, because this is already thick, I would probably use the Walmart laminating sheets that I have, because the Walmart brand of laminating sheets are really thin. They say they're 3mm, but they are much thinner than the Scotch brand. So if you are looking to laminate something that might be on the thicker side, that might be a way to go as a good compromise. So for this one, I think that would be perfect because I do have the Walmart, which is super thin. I do have the regular Scotch brand. I also have a 5mm, and I think that might be too thick, although it would make it super rigid like a Erin Condren or Happy Planner cover, but I don't know if my laminator could handle it because it only is supposed to go up to 5mm, and I don't know if that takes into account the thickness of the paper. So that is the final thing we'll need that one for. And then we'll punch this as well. And again, now what's going to be tricky is I only want 9 punches. Because it's a classic size. But if you're looking at the rings, I don't want it to go too far where it'll punch a hole. I mean, it's really for aesthetics only. So I'll make this my cover. And I'll scooch it over as much as I can to that one here without going too far, and hopefully get this as centered as I can. So if I'm looking at a guide, then it would be the P. And fingers crossed that this actually works. Ha-ha! Success! So line it up with the P. And we are in business. And the last thing is I'm going to round these corners. And I'm only going to round the corners of the cover because I'm assuming that's the only thing that might poke me as I'm taking this in and out. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do, and I'll just do this for a couple of months, is this is from one of the classic accessory packs that you can buy for the classic Happy Planner. And I'll take 4. And so what I am hoping to do, and I won't put it in January since we're already done with January, I'll put it in February because I've realized even though I don't want to, if I truly want to get a handle on my budget, I will need to list my expenses. And I like this because it's got the lines plus some extra things here. So what I could do is if I have multiple expenses, I can just fold it over because it is the exact same thing on the back. Although I don't like writing on the backs of pages, I don't know why. But I plan to put a couple of these pages at the end here and hopefully keep track in my mini because I always have that with me, and then reconcile at the end of the week in here. That is double writing. I might have to rethink it, but that's the plan as of right now. I will probably put my name on here, just make it a little bit more decorative. And on these pages here, I might do some decorating or collaging as well. It certainly doesn't need it for our budgeting purposes, but I mean, it's a lot of white space, and why not? Again, even though I'm already done with January, I just wanted to be cohesive. And this is my Hapa Budget Planner, where I've taken components of an Erin Condren, and I've taken components of a Happy Planner. I've taken components of a ring binder divider set, and I've taken a wall planner calendar and some file folders, and I've turned it into my Hapa Planner. on rings, no less, which is the perfect mechanism because, I mean, if you're an Erin Condren person, you can still do this. You can fold it in on itself and you can work. You can fold it in on itself and you can work on here. But what you Erin Condreners are really missing out on is this. Because yeah, you can rip out the pages. Clearly, that's what I did to get them. But can you put them back in? And I'm thinking no. Alright guys, this is my Hapa Planner video. Let me know in the description box below if you found this useful or if this is something that you might do with your own variety of different planners that may not be on the discs. And as always, aloha!